Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Llama Commerce Show. I'm Kurt Theobald, CEO at Classy Llama, and this is not Brett Curry, in case you didn't notice. We are not having a Matrix moment. This is legitimately someone new.
Yes.
Brian Lange, introduce yourself.
Glad to be
please.
on the show, yes. Brian Lange, project manager at Classy Llama.
Wow, that was underwhelming. He actually is helping me on the innovation team and is playing a pivotal role in that, acting as a strategist on the innovation team, although he also is a killer project manager as well. Anyway, as always, we also have a guest. We've got our one-arm table tennis trophy, which we will give at the end of the show, is the most value, which is almost certainly to be me. What?
We'll see about that.
Okay. Then we also have a couple of very special guests, our sworn enemies who have Focus podcast, and we hear they get a lot more viewership than we do, and people think they're a lot cooler than us.
No, they can't see them, though.
But they can't see their faces, so this is really going to cause some trouble, we think. So anyway, who do we have with us today?
So today we have Mr. Philip Jackson, Magento Luminary, and we've got Kaylin Jordan.
Who doesn't have a subtitle on his bottom third, so we don't really know what he
does. What do you do, Kaylin?
Kaylin Jordan, who launched more recently Mage Hero. So we're going to talk about both of those today because they're both very exciting. So today we've got a lot of different talking points. We are focused on Magento because everyone here is all about Magento, so it just makes sense. So Philip, Kaylin, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us.
So let's just start with let's talk about MageTalk Day, and the reason that I wanted to talk about this is because I've never heard of it before.
So let me fill you in. So MageTalk Day evolved out of actually a couple of the members of the European Magento community. So we had two people in particular. So Sander Mengel and Anna Vogel is how I've been told to pronounce it, but I'm terrible at it. So, but the two of them are both very active on Magento Stack Exchange, which is kind of it's a dedicated question and answer site for developers and store owners to get their questions answered, and it's run and hosted by the same company that does the other Stack Exchange network sites like Stack Overflow, which is the most popular of them. So the Magento Stack Exchange has become the de facto place to get your questions answered about Magento since Magento actually closed down the forums or put the forums into read-only mode about a month and a half ago. So we have more traffic than any other Stack Exchange site. We're the second highest trafficked site in the Stack Exchange network. But because of all the influx of traffic, we have a lot of unqualified and very low quality posts that have kind of flowed in. And so MageTalk Day is an effort in the Twitter community to get the people that are active in the community and some people that are developer minded to come and help us answer for 48, and then we're going to close out the questions that have little or no value to us in that community. And so this is community curation of a community-run site, and we're just putting a lot of effort because there's a few people that are very active on the site, but there's and I'm one of them, but this is an effort for us to get people that don't do it every day to really pitch in for the 48 hours and try to get us into a good spot. So that's that.
So what you're saying is, and we're familiar with MageStack, but what you're saying is for our audience is if there's a merchant out there that has questions and needs quality answers, instead of paying us, they can just go to MageTalk and get it answered for free.
Wouldn't that be so great? But the problem is in the real world it doesn't actually work that way. So there's a limit to the type of question that I think is worthwhile to ask on those type of sites. So there's definitely a place where you can find yourself where you still need a systems integrator, obviously, so the way that those networks work is there has to be a de facto answer. You can't have this nebulous try these things. There has to be, for a question to be valuable in our community and to fit the guidelines that we've established for the community, it has to have a very concrete, how do I create this type of promotion, right? It has to be a very concrete. How do I enable a product for free shipping, right? So if they're very concrete, I ask a question and I get a canonical answer, then yes, that's absolutely the type of question that you can ask there.
I will say
that's really...
I once, oh, I'm sorry, Kurt. I once I had a question and I asked it on MageStack and then simultaneously through a support ticket, enterprise support ticket, and I timed the response, and on MageStack I got a response in like 13 minutes, and then the support ticket took like 3 days, so.
Yeah, that's less relieving to me. I was going to say I'm relieved because then I was wondering if we were facing like Armageddon for Magento agencies and it was the end of life as we know it.
The moment that becomes a possibility, I'll quit the site because I need agencies to stay in business for me to have.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's great that they have a MageStack Day now in order to clean things up and to create more focused effort around that. That sounds like much needed, and I just love that the community is coming around that. So the two people that have really taken initiative on that, what was their names again?
So you're going to make me say the name again. It's Sander Mengel and Anna Volkel, but
all right, let's start again. You have to say it again. Thank you.
I have to get this number when I say it because I feel so inadequate. I can't pronounce German last names.
That's right.
Actually, she's Austrian. She works for a systems integrator herself called Lime Soda, so they're great. They really are both top developers, and they're the right people, I think, to push this forward.
That's phenomenal. That's great. Well, so let's actually talk about Mage Hero then, and I'm wondering, have those two jumped on Mage Hero, or can you actually see how cool they are on Mage Hero at this point?
Yeah, you can. Actually, both of them are up there. So MageHero.com is just a quick. It started as a quick side project I threw up last Friday, and the idea behind it was.
Last Friday? Are you okay? Did you?
I launched last Friday, So, I always get asked, like, hey, do you know any Magento developers that are available, that kind of thing. So I'd always wanted to put up a site that kind of listed developers and had some sort of a way for the community to kind of self-police or kind of rate each other, so you kind of had an indication of which developers were trustworthy and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that was basically it. So I put that up, and a few people have joined. Since your audience is mainly merchants, I don't know that it's 100% ready for merchants to start hitting because we're still kind of working out the kinks with the rating system and everything like that. But yeah, I'm hoping that over time it'll become a useful resource of Magento.
I think it's phenomenal, Kalen. I was really excited to see that go up. I almost created my own account to like start. But then I was really afraid to because then I would like be saying I was a developer, and then I mean I don't know if you've created like thumbs down yet on there, but
not yet.
I would have gotten a lot of them, and it would have booed me off of the whole site. So
right. Yeah, and I've had a couple people ask, whether people that aren't developers should join the site, people that are marketers and stuff, and I think for now I really want, like, it's hard enough to get like the developer rating right because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's just a popularity contest, and so I think it's hard enough to just come up with a ranking mechanism for developers. Mm-hmm. So to add other skill sets into the mix, maybe sometime in the future that would work, but I think for now, limiting it to developers kind of keeps things simple. And
Well, I really think that like LinkedIn is a great place for people that aren't developers to go, and they kind of get high fives from people on there and whatever. But developers is this like really special group that vets itself, and it needs other developers to say whether you're good or not. I love that purity about MageHero.com. So it'll become popularity comes. I'd be like, Philip Jackson, I don't care if he's good or not. I think that guy is super cool. He gets a vote from me.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's really great, and it's been really valuable for me to be able to go there, and as I'm scalping people from other agencies,
I should create an account level called Scalper or something.
Scalper. There are scalpers currently.
Maybe you could let me know. Maybe you could let me know how much you'd be willing to pay for that.
New business. I like it.
Exactly.
But anyway, I think it's fantastic. Who are you targeting with Mage Hero right now? I assume you just want developers right now coming to the site, creating accounts that kind of create that community there before. It sounds like before inviting others that would utilize the credibility factor.
Do you kind of have a roadmap of where you see things going?
Not a whole lot. This is kind of a side project for me. But I think where I'd like to see things go, one feature that I recently was the ability to post content updates. So kind of like a Twitter status update. But the kind of content that I'm shooting for is, not so much casual stuff in nature like what you'd post to Twitter, but like for developers to post stuff that they're working on. So maybe today I'm working on something in Magento indexing, and maybe tomorrow I'm working on a cool shipping feature. So I can post those updates and tag them, and then I want to eventually have support for upvoting specific posts, so that Phil can post that he's working on a product customizer, and he can tag it as a customizer and get a bunch of upvotes. And then a year from now, when you look at Phil's profile, you can get a really rich picture of the areas within Magento that he has expertise in, because we all know that as big as Magento is, we all have expertise in kind of specific areas.
Yeah.
Up until like a week ago, I had never done anything at all with standard FedEx shipping rates. Which is like Magento 101 type stuff, and so that's one of the things I'm really hoping becomes kind of a useful data set, and hopefully within the coming months the rankings will become more interesting. Another thing that I think is interesting is availability data. So for contractors to be able to go in and post when they're next available based on what projects they have on deck. And so that way you can go in and you can look for developers that are highly rated and are also actually available for work. They're not going to be available today because they're all busy and everything, but they might be available in 2-3 months, so you can kind of try to book them ahead of time.
Nice.
Good.
Well, I think obviously we already have a digestible bite then, and that is that merchants, if you're having any issues with FedEx shipping rates, Kalen Jordan has contemporary experience.
There you go.
That's good to know. So, okay, we also have a very special guest that we didn't even mention on the show today.
Sure, I should have introduced.
And we're not going to yet because we're going to go to commercial break. But when we come back, we have a special guest that you may not have noticed on screen with us today. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. Flash. Okay, we're here to promote plungers. And if you aren't familiar with Plunger, it is a very useful tool that is for unblocking things like toilets.
For starters.
I carry it around in the office to unblock people, and I don't mean that crudely at all. When people are having a hard time breaking through any sort of resistance, I unblock them.
So what Kurt means is that he actually takes the plunger and pulls people out of rooms.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
When he needs to talk to them.
That's right. And I believe supplement that joke, which I was hoping he'd waive, but he hasn't yet. Why Kalen Jordan has toilet paper sitting by him during the show, I have no idea, but that's beside the point. See? Why do you have that?
Well, I like to keep, because I'm a little sick right now, so I didn't have any tissue paper handy. So that's usually the
fair point. It's fair point.
Best option.
Understandable. It is
there are other secondary use cases that may from time to time.
When you're really working hard and you just can't leave.
Sometimes you just can't get up. You just can't justify it.
Oh wow, TMI. All right. Great commercial.
MageTalk is not a video podcast. Is because of this right here.
We try to keep it. We try to keep it audio on MageTalk, or otherwise we run into problems.
We tried.
Yeah,
there's a Phantom Ghost first episode that we did that will never see the light of day. It was a video episode, and it was basically just Kalen juggling toilet paper rolls, and he was juggling things out of them. It was awkward. So
I can neither confirm nor deny said allegations.
Wow.
Well, we'll have to find a way to get that someday.
Yeah, that's true. we air all of our dirty laundry because we're live and we can't help it. And there was even a show that Jesse didn't want to show, and he was like, "No, we can't show that." It was the one where I tried to torpedo the show at the beginning, and I'm like shouting Friday, Friday, Friday. It's the funniest episode yet. I mean, every time I watch it, I die laughing. I insult all BMW owners. I mean, it's a fantastic episode.
Up for insulting BMW owners.
So, the special guest we have that you all have been waiting for is actually a completely separate persona, and it needs to be treated separately, and that's Phil's hair.
Phil Winkle's hair.
Phil Winkle's hair, if you're on Twitter, one of the four that follow that. But apparently Phil's hair is a big deal. I didn't know this until yesterday as we were researching them and stalking them online to learn more about them. And Phil's hair has its own following, its own identity.
Yes.
And we're not sure which is leading which. So,
that's a question.
Phil,
yes.
Can you kind of enlighten us?
And how is that relevant for merchants?
Let me see if I can tie this all together. This is a great challenge. No, so my hair is actually not so big right now. My wife makes me cut it before I go speak at conferences because she's terrified of having video evidence of how unkempt I can possibly be. Yeah, so I guess somebody made a joke about my hair being quite large in my Twitter avatar, and this is it's been like a running joke for a little while with some people in the Magento community, and somebody took it upon themselves to create a Twitter account for my hair. And it's amazing because they get the tone just right. You know, I have to live with my hair every day, and not many people really know exactly what a jerk he can be, my hair. So they really nail the tone. But yeah, it's more of a Ratatouille sort of a thing where my hair is leading me around. My hair is actually the genius Magento developer, and my hair should actually be number 4 on Mage Hero, not me.
Yeah, I expected this was probably what happened. What I would like to, I think we'll save this for another show, but I want to hear about the history and when you became aware of the third person that is your hair and how that developed. So, but I think that's too intense for the show.
I have to say, like, the first time I met Philip, I actually kind of insulted him, and I could tell his hair was angry at me.
You don't want Phil's hair to be angry at you. That's the best place to be. A very bad place to be.
Kalen's learned the hard way. How is my hair relevant to merchants?
That's good. Very important. Very important.
If you can tie this back, I'm going to be impressed.
Yeah, I would say that the more popular that my hair becomes, the more popular that I become as a developer. And when I become popular as a developer, then MageTalk, our podcast, gets some notoriety, and we help educate developers in the community and make them better developers through things like telling them about extensions of the week and anti-patterns and things that they should avoid or things they should do that make them more effective at their jobs. And when developers are more effective at their jobs, it costs you less money in the end. So so you should definitely follow my hair on Twitter.
Well done.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
That's good. You even indirectly plug MageTalk and everything. I mean, I just
Yeah.
It was.
I'm on message, man. I'm running for politics soon.
Man, the Republicans got it right this time. Anyway.
Phil, are you a Republican, Phil? This is probably.
I'm a registered Republican.
Let's just offend everybody while we're at it.
Yeah. I'm a registered Republican. We'll have that's too big of a topic for this particular episode.
Your
hair is definitely
political affiliation is more important.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, my hair leans left, if you can tell. Like, look where it's You see, it kind of does. Look, see, right there. That's what keeps me so balanced.
Yeah, it's like you're a moderate because you've got both sides.
It's like the tail on most animals, but it's your hair. It just keeps you balanced. That's wow. Well, that's good. I really appreciate you allowing your hair to join us today, or rather, your hair is allowing you to join us. That's really sweet of your hair. So, Kalen, I'd like to hear about an old story that I think is still rocking and rolling, and that's MageMail. I ran across MageMail a year and a half ago. Hasn't been existing that long, I hope, because I don't know time very well. I don't know how much time has passed, but I think it's been a year and a half since I ran across.
Yeah, that's just about when I started it. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. See, I'm in the know. I learn about things right when they first happen. But I will say, just from the get-go, I was really impressed with the look of it. I don't know if I actually hit it per se, but I'd like to hear just a little bit more about where you're at with it. How much traction have you gained with it? You know, how are you helping merchants through that offering? Just to give us a little bit more context about where you're at and how you feel like you're doing at this point with it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks. So MageMail is a triggered email app for Magento. So what that means, triggered email is basically any type of an email that is triggered based off of some event or some action that a customer takes. Example, an abandoned cart email that goes out when a customer starts to make a purchase and doesn't finish it, or something like a product recommendation email that's based off of a past purchase they've made, review request email, or purchase anniversary, birthday, those types of things. And so basically MageMail is a really focused product. It doesn't do, like, if you're already sending out your newsletter through MailChimp or Campaign Monitor or something like that, you can continue to do your newsletter through them. And then MageMail just comes in and handles all of those triggered emails for you. And kind of my focus with it is to make it really kind of easy to get started with and onboarded. I actually kind of manage all the onboarding process for you, so I'll help to get your email template ready. I'll help to draft content for you. So I really like for the experience of the merchant to be just really kind of hands-off, and they can approve the emails, and then they go live, and then they can see how they're doing on a monthly basis. So that's kind of my approach with it, and I've been working on about 1.5 years now, and traction's been picking up. I'm still I've been bootstrapping it on the side, and I'm hoping to go full time with it, hopefully in the coming months.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, I guess one of my key questions is, like we've had Windsor Circle on the show, interviewed them about their offering, and of course, these triggered emails. Its functionality is being built out in a lot of other email platforms. It sounds like you actually have more of a full service approach where you're giving them, really helping to ramp up and make it much more accessible because of the service component of MageMail on top of the software component.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really unique about MageMail is that it's only for Magento. You guys know I'm big into Magento, and most of the other email platforms out there, or I think pretty much all of them, they target a lot of different platforms. So I've really tried to target Magento, and that's one of the reasons why I'm able to build some neat features that I think some other platforms don't have, like auto login when you click through on an email, and some nice coupon code integration and coupon code expiration, and a bunch of things, because that's my thing, is to just really focus only on Magento and try to make it kind of the best offering in that space.
And one thing that I saw that I really appreciated when I looked at it, and it's actually something I appreciate about Windsor Circle as well, is that I think what merchants lack is the ability to sink their teeth into, like, okay, I know I need to do email better, but like, what specifically do I need to do? And I need to get going here. I need to start it. And it seemed like MageMail just made it really, really cohesive and simple. It's like, here you go. Here's the 5 things or 4 things you need to do to really take a big step forward with your email sophistication.
Right, exactly. It's less on the side of being like super flexible and configurable, and it's more on the side of like, here are the best practices you want to follow for 95% of the time. And the merchants that I'm finding are interested in it are usually under 10 million in revenue. So maybe like 500,000 up to 10 million in revenue is kind of the sweet spot for it. So it's sort of more opinionated about the best ways to do email, and it makes it easy to get started. So you don't have to go in and configure a bunch of things. You just set up a couple quick rules, and you have a nice little suite of triggered emails that are
by the way, one thing that I really appreciate about Windsor Circle that I'm not sure I saw in MageMail was, like, they do a best customer deal where they out those customers that are like most loyal, most consistent, and they focus them as a segment. I don't know if that's something that that you have or that you've considered adding in, but I love that particular piece of what Windsor Circle does. It might be something you can build out in MageMail. Hope they don't mind me saying that.
Yeah, that's. I think that I've started to do a little bit of stuff in that area. I have like a way that you can target customers that have made more than X purchases or that have spent a total amount of dollars in their lifetime. But I think Windsor Circle probably has a little more of a robust feature in terms of top customers. So I'll try.
Honestly, it's just the thought leadership there. I think is great. Like just leading the merchant in saying, hey, this is an important segment. You need to take care of this group. Honestly, it's not so much about the robustness of the software. More like I just think it would be a wonderful thing for that to be like a standard thing you recommend to users of MageMail. Hey, you really need to create a segment and focus on those best customers and make sure you're taking care of them because they are, the bedrock of your company.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyway, so MageMail, how do they get more information? How do merchants get more information about MageMail?
Yeah, so you can go to magemail.co. That's magemail.co, and you can sign up there. And I'd love to work with you.
That's fantastic. We always love it when software developers focus on Magento, and that's like, because there's such complexity there. You really have to understand the platform in order to make the most compelling, most effective software connected into it. So I love that you're focused on that. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
So, before we conclude, I just wanted to open up, and because you guys I love that you guys are so connected in a way that Brian and I are not, and Brett certainly isn't, because he's not connected to anything. I can say that because he's not here.
Yes.
I mean, he's not even here. He's not even connected to the show. But you guys are so connected on the developer side, and you go to so many conferences that I don't go to, Brian doesn't go to, and Brett doesn't. But I mean, what do you guys see out there right now that's contemporarily relevant to the Magento ecosystem at large, as well as to merchants specifically looking at Magento or on Magento currently?
So that's a really broad question. I'll answer the first part of it of what is really kind of happening in our community right now, because we are very connected, and I think that's the key, is that we're more connected now as a community than we've ever been. And we've waxed and waned at times, but we definitely have a really strong number of people who are. It's not just one or two people who are leading the charge. There are people that are really, especially in the European community and the Australian community, people that are stepping up and deciding that we're going to make Magento what we want it to be, instead of deciding it doesn't have to be led from eBay and it doesn't have to be led from Magento Inc. Magento can be the way that we want it to be because we're the community and we have a voice, and I think that that's important, an important milestone in any community, not just in software, and not just in client management tools or the types of things that communities form around. So we're having this almost like a renaissance of community, and I keep saying we could not do MageTalk as a podcast. We couldn't have done this 2 years ago. In 2012, we would have a weekly podcast that's like, well, still nothing from Magento, another week. We have no idea what's going on. Silence from eBay. Nobody really has any clue. That would have been a really boring podcast. And for things happening every single week, we don't have to even try to come up with content. And I think that's because the community is becoming so engaged. A good example of this is this year we've had two very large conferences in our community that just kind of sprang up out of nowhere, and they were really well attended. So the first was Meet Magento New York, which Kurt, you spoke at, and they had like almost 300 people attend with only 3 months' notice, and that's kind of amazing when you think about the logistics that go into putting on a conference of that size. And they were very aware from the get-go of not just making this about developers, but making it massively appealing to the people who, at the end of the day, actually run Magento stores. Like, we build Magento stores, but people have to run them. And so, and there's other conferences all over that are springing up like this too. Mage Titans, which is basically like a very it was developer-centric, but it's talking about the Titans in our community, and they had 5 or 6 really heavy hitters there, and it was basically a free-form, spend a whole day with your heroes in the community and ask them any question you could possibly want. It's like having the hallway track, like what they call the hallway track in a conference, but for the whole day, where you can get to meet people face-to-face who you interact with online on a daily basis. And again, that's an event that came in about 4 months of planning, and it was really, really well attended. So I think we see signs of life right now in the community, and I think it's good for everybody. It's not just it's not just good for developers. I think it's good for merchants because we're seeing, the giants awakening. We're starting to see signs of life from Magento, and I think they're starting to back the efforts of the community and listen to us. And I think that's an important thing for the growth of the platform.
Yeah, I think you look at what Ben Marks and Alan Kent are doing, and just the level of communication that they've brought to the table. It's been fantastic, and so I think that it's been really great to see the community interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that like with the Magento 2 project is I think really kind of starting to pick up the pace, and they're releasing on a weekly basis. Like you said, Alan Kent is very engaged with the community. He's even on Mage Hero, by the way. Not available for work though. And he's just super engaged with people on Twitter and on forums and stuff, and he's posting things. You talk about thought leadership. I really feel like it's starting to be there, and with like Ben Marks as the community evangelist, it just really, I think a lot of us felt like there wasn't that much going on with the Magento 2 project for a while, but it just really feels like things are moving along nicely, and there's really some solid, not only solid leadership, but leadership that's engaged with people, with the community, and taking feedback and all that kind of thing. So.
And I think it's really important. I think it's very important for merchants to hear, because there certainly has been a long road leading up to Magento 2 and the release of it, and there's been a lot of missed expectations in that process and a lot of lost faith in the merchant community. But I think it's very important to state unequivocally that what we have now is like nothing we've had before in terms of the Magento 2 organization and the focus and the forward movement that we're seeing. It's now transparent. We can see, at least, we have the GitHub repository. And we have that viewport now into what's going on. And maybe contributions are a little black box still, but it's getting better, and they're making progress. And I have every bit of confidence that Magento 2 will be released on schedule because of the communication that's taking place, because of the transparency that's in place. I mean, we are so relieved to see the shift in energy as an agency, because we've hooked wagons with Magento, and so that's huge for us. But as a merchant, I know there's been trepidation on the merchant side as well around this.
Right.
I think that they should feel very, very relieved as well to see the shift. And to what Philip was saying, I kind of see like there are developer celebrities that are developing, which is really cool. So like you call them Mage Heroes, I think that's fantastic, because it's kind of like a hero or a celebrity. And I think having that leadership is critical as well, and seeing who are those that really have been consistently in the space, who really know what they're talking about, who have that credibility, and being able to pivot from those points. And I think that acts as really great accountability in the community as well, and creates the opportunity for leadership on both sides, both on the Magento Inc. eBay side of things as well as from community leadership things. So we are generally really, really pleased to see the movement that's taking place, and optimistic about how things are moving forward at this point.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll add one more thing, which is if you're a merchant, you know that you're not going to, you can't hold on to a customer or expect them to come back if you're not delivering on your brand promise. And I think Magento is realizing that for them to hold on to their customers and to keep us coming back, they have to deliver on their brand promise, which I think was very fuzzy for a long time. And so now we're seeing them actually start to deliver. And I like you said, I couldn't be more thrilled. This is a really good time in the community. And from what I hear, and we can tease it a little bit. From what I hear, there's way more to come, and there's a lot of things happening and coming down the pike that we're all going to be keeping on. We're in a good spot.
Yeah, given the organization around it, I have no doubt that there is more to come. Why would they stop this momentum? They had lost their way trying to figure it out. Well, they're on track now, and I feel like there's no reason to believe that anything's going to shift from that. So we're very, very excited about that. Well, guys, really appreciate having you on the show today. It's been a long time in coming, and we've been throwing bombs at each other via email, and we just needed to get the arch nemesis together so we can settle it out, duke it out. I'm afraid that I feel like most of what we've done is mindless banter, so you guys get the one-arm table tennis trophy.
No, hold on here. That trophy goes to the hair.
Oh, I want to piece the hair, so bowing to the hair. Unfortunately, it's going to go back on my shelf as a traveling trophy that I keep because normally it's all about me. But your hair did win it, so well done. But guys, we will definitely have you on the show again. I don't know if you do guests on MageTalk, but we would happily audio bomb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, we do. We actually just had a couple people on. We're getting that figured out, but we would love for you guys to join.
That'd be fantastic. Like plug into that. So focused on Magento. How can they gain access to your podcast?
So you can actually, the easiest way to get it is if you go to MageTalk.com, and there's a few links right there on the page. You can listen right away. We have right now about 11 episodes that are live, and if you sign up for the email newsletter, you get a bonus episode. So there's a little more than 12 or 13 hours of content for you to sink your teeth into. And but it comes out every week around Tuesday, Wednesday, and you can subscribe on iTunes.
That's fantastic. 12 to 13 hours, was that 2 or 3 shows that took you to get there?
Kalen had his way, that'd be like one large show.
Kalen juggles the toilet paper because I really wanted that episode.
If you sign up for the email, I can neither confirm nor deny that that's the episode.
Well, if you want great information about contemporary happenings in the Magento space, great place to go. Gets a little long-winded, but it's also really funny. So if you're looking for a good time or great information about Magento, Philip and Kalen are your guys on MageTalk. So,
absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much. You guys have a great week, and as always, stay classy.